Let me recap. Trying to figure out, am I a Hebrew, a Jew, or am I an Egyptian? I'm kind of both, but neither one. And I have mixed motives, mixed identity. Who am I? Which is a question we ask, particularly in adolescent years and in our 20s, figuring that out. And so Moses is figuring that out. He would come from what we'd call a place of privilege, living in the Pharaoh's house. And then he sees this event, and it's often, do you have some event or a few events from your high school, college, later years that are defining for you? Moses, you meet the person you fall in love with, the dumbest mistake of your life you wish you could undo. Those are not necessarily the same thing, but I guess they could be. They could be. Or something really good or really bad happens, and you have to live with the consequences from then on. And Moses has one, and he's pretty much at the height of his life at that point, and he sees an Egyptian guy picking on a Hebrew guy, so he goes out there and he kills the Egyptian, and then he gets in trouble, and he has to run away. And he runs 700 miles away to the land of Midian, which is modern-day Saudi Arabia, and he through a pretty neat story, he drives away these shepherds trying to escape. He comes to the aid of a damsel in distress is basically what it is. And go away, you mean vagabonds. It sounds like a setup, honestly, that you'd have your buddies pull. And he drives them away, and these young women say, "Oh, Dad, this great Egyptian guy saved us from these horrible shepherds and let us drink from the well and water our sheep. Oh, invite this guy over." And then he ends up living there and marrying one of the women and then has kids. And then he becomes kind of the heir of that situation. And he's got a pretty good life. He's away from threats of danger. For the first time, he feels like home, I would think, is a very fair thing to say. I have a place, I have a purpose to be a husband, to be a father, to be the heir to this small family business. I have a job. I have meaning in my life in a way that he had never had before. And then what happened? That's when God, very annoyingly, stepped into that situation. And what did God? God came crashing down in lightning and thunder, riding thunderbolts. Is that what happened? No. God was a little more subtle. So, and I said this last time, but I want to emphasize how absolutely ordinary, in some ways, all this is. Moses is out with the sheep, and there on an ordinary place, an ordinary bush. What kind of bush was it? I don't know. Whatever they had there. A forsythia, like we have out here. Or it's a hedge. Think of that, just the plainest bush you get at Home Depot. It's nothing sacred about the bush until God happens to it. And then the bush is suddenly, it's a sacred place. The hill, the mountain, which is Sinai, mostly called, there is nothing special or holy about that mountain or place until God happens to it. And then it becomes holy. One could say the same thing about the Hebrew people. They become holy when God, Yahweh, happens to them. So the Lord, Yahweh, speaks out of the bush. Moses, we hear the story, you're to go back and set the people free. And Moses hems and haws. And I think about how Moses, I hadn't thought about this before, would be the worst composer of Episcopal prayers possible. Think of Moses' prayers. I don't want to go back to Egypt. They'll kill me. I can't talk. Oh Lord, Heavenly Father, we beseech you to... That's how we pray, which is not how Moses prays. There's an elegance and eloquence, but Moses is more plain spoken. Throughout the Hebrew scripture of the Old Testament, people speak plainly to God. And something that I still to this day can't quite... I can intellectually understand it. I can't do it. I can't argue with God like a Jew can. And I've been around Jewish people a lot in the last 7 years, and it's so natural, and I don't mean to stereotype, but oh my God, it's so natural when you're with people who are Jewish who start talking about how they relate to God. They complain or they get upset. I don't want to bother God or hurt the Lord's feelings. Do you? I just feel that's disrespectful. I can't do that. And so if you get nothing else out of all of Exodus, think of how you relate to God is much more open to possibility than how American Christianity has historically related to God. Because I guarantee you, when Moses is like, why me? I don't want to go there. He's not every head bowed, every eye closed in this posture. That's just not what he did. He's like, I'm not going there. And he would think of more fist shaking, less head bowing. That's how people in the Bible talk to God. And I would dare say that's how disciples talk to Jesus. You see it all the time. Oh yeah, Lord, great. Hey, I want to sit at your right hand and one at your left. They're very practical, just like us stuff. So, keep going in the story. I don't want to go. What's going to happen here? Where did we get to? Oh, right there. I don't want to go. Tell the people, God says, that Yahweh, the Lord, reminder, every time it says L-O-R-D in all caps, that's in English, our English translations, that means Yahweh. Or if you want to get really fancy, the Tetragrammaton, the 4 letters in Hebrew that are too holy to say. But I'm going to keep, and I ask, is it okay, Aaron, if I say this, does it offend you? No. Say Yahweh because it's different sounding than hearing God, which is more generic all the time. Yahweh is a particular God. I would suggest it's not a gender thing, but he is how it's often mostly described. But Yahweh is not generic God. Yahweh is a particular God of a people, not a place, and one with whom you can argue, and one who demands certain things and is not passive, not far removed. God acts in the community and interacts with the people. That's the idea. So God says, tell the people that Yahweh, the Lord, the God of your ancestors, has sent you to them. Moses is to assemble the elders and tell them this God has appeared to him. Again, could you imagine? So I saw a burning bush, and the bush didn't burn up, even though it kept burning. And God spoke to me and said, I have a message for you, people. And I joked last time, all of you are to give me $1,000 right now, and then the rapture will not happen. So pony up. What are you going to tell me? Only $1,000, Jonathan? I was hoping it'd be more. No, you'd say, get out of here. Moses has been gone for a generation. Moses ran away when he killed somebody. Who the heck are you? Why would we listen to you at all? Because I have a message from God. Sure you do. Sure you do. I have this oil I'd like to sell you that will cure everything that ails you. It feels strikingly like that. The elders will listen to you. Then all of you will go to Pharaoh and tell him, the Lord, Yahweh, asks that we make sacrifice. And you got to go away 3 days. Think with the king, the Pharaoh, hey, Pharaoh, the last one's the one that was after me. I would like to take all of your workers away for 3 days, away from their jobs, building bricks for you, and we're going to go do religious stuff way far away from your armies. How about no? That's my answer. No, that's not happening, says Pharaoh. The king will say no, but God, Yahweh, will strike Egypt with wonders. really interesting thing that is very easy to miss. The gods of Egypt are gods of what? They're multiple ones. Hebrews have one. Of things like agriculture or the sun. They're gods of a place. And so this is home game Egypt versus visiting power of Yahweh, going into that home turf. So that's something that's not obvious, but it would be very obvious to all those people, because your God is less powerful. Everybody knows, perhaps you don't. In professional football, if two teams are evenly matched and they're playing in the home team of one, they're automatically, whoever is in the home team is a 3-point favorite for that. You get 3 points automatically just playing at home, because you don't have to travel or sleep in a hotel and your own fans are cheering for you. This is very similar to that. We are on foreign territory, so your God should be weaker. And that's what Yahweh is about to enter into. If God can act in the midst of mighty Egypt, the great power everybody knows, then God can act where? Anywhere. That's the subtle point there. So Pharaoh's going to throw him out of the country. And the craziest thing of all, it seems to me at the end is, and when Pharaoh, who will harden his heart, and eventually will just get rid of you, I'm going to have Pharaoh, have all the Egyptians give you silver and gold and clothes to take with you. They will want to be so rid of you to see your backside, take my money, take my stuff, and leave. And that's absurd, that you would have slaves and give them all your stuff just to get them out of town. But that's what God says will happen. And Moses, of course, wants to believe it. I'd like to believe that. Wouldn't you? God's going to snap the mighty fingers and all these things shall be well. So the word, this is chapter 4, verses 1 through 9. The discussion continues, which is rather one-sided, and that is that the word believe is used 5 times. Do any of you have chapter 4, verse 1? I think it's probably last week's reading. Then Moses answered, suppose you do not believe me. Suppose they, the Pharaoh and Egyptians and Hebrews, do not believe or listen to me, but say, the Lord did not appear to you in a burning bush. You're dumb, Moses. I added that part. The Lord said to him, what is in your hand? He said, a staff. So this is the number 2 lead pencil, is the mighty staff of Moses. He said a staff, and he said, throw it on the ground. And he threw the staff on the ground, and it became a snake. And Moses drew back from it. It doesn't say what snake. Probably not a garter snake. Probably something that you would, oh, God, that's a snake, like a copperhead or whatever. Michael? Yes, the Lord conveniently left that out.
And in fact, in the King James Version, the reading of this passage, not Moses drew back from it, I would think recoiled would be, the King James Version was, and Moses fled from it.
Yeah,
so I have always seen this as Moses as a kind of clown. Feet, do your stuff. He's halfway to the horizon before he returns.
That's very fair. That is, Moses is kind of a clown who recoils, draws back, runs away, is probably how we'd express it.
Runs away.
Well, have you ever been walking in the woods and you about to step on a snake? I've done that growing up 10 times. And then you like, oh God, that is a cottonmouth in one case. And you don't just, first of all, you freeze if you're smart. and then you back up, and then you get as far away as possible, and then you go get a shovel, and like if you live in the country, but you don't just jump at it like, wow, that's a really scary looking snake. You get away from it. Run away, and the same idea of the snake comes back later. Snake may not even be the best translation of it, because it's the same word as crocodile. And why does that matter? Because Egypt had crocodiles as one of the representations of deities. And if you have an Egyptian crocodile, like a real Egyptian crocodile, like a Florida gator, versus our Georgia bulldog or Tennessee volunteer, or whatever your team is, this is the symbol of Egypt and Pharaoh. And that's this, again, it's also sea monster, by the way. Sea monster like the Leviathan, thank you. There goes a Leviathan, which the Lord made for the sport of it. Leviathan, crocodile, snake, all the same word in Hebrew, which is a fascinating idea. And so imagine, if you're about to go into Egypt, into the enemy territory, and you throw down if you throw down your pencil and it becomes a garter snake, it's like, that's not really impressive at all. But you're going to run away from a crocodile or something equivalent, and you're going to run away from, like, what in the world just happened here? It becomes a devourer, a scary beast that's there. So that's a pretty cool sign, I think. And then God says, take it by the tail. Throw it to the ground. So he threw the staff on the ground and it became a snake, a crocodile. And Moses ran away. Oh my God, I got to get out of here. Even though God just did it. It's probably not going to hurt him, but whatever. Then the Lord said to Moses, reach out your hand and seize it by the tail. I would say, I'm good. Nope. No, thank you. Would you grab... one time this was in New Orleans, in City Park, and that was back in the glory days. I played golf twice a week. Priests could play on any city park for $8 all day long. So a group of us would go on our day off and play like 36 holes, but you had to pay attention because next to all the waterways, there were alligators in the water. And I swear, at least it was once a Friday, you'd hit the ball, and they'd go there, and it's like, dude, I'm just going to drop in the middle of the fairway because it would hit an alligator's tail. If you're within like 20 feet, you just don't go over there. They're unbelievably scary and ancient looking. They're not, they evolved a long time ago. So reach and grab it by the tail? No. But Moses did, reached his hand and grasped it, and it became a staff in his hand again. What would be your feeling when you grab, hey, go ahead, grab the tail. Here, I'll hold my beer. Grab the tail of that crocodile. What would you do? So then it becomes the staff. How would you feel at that point? Let's check me out. Hey, come here. Look what I can do. Pretty cool. So he reached his hand, grasped it, and became a staff in his hand, so that they may believe that the Lord, the God of their ancestors, the God of Abraham, God of Isaac, God of Jacob, has appeared to you. So this, what looks like a parlor trick, is in fact a proof, evidence, that these Hebrews, and later the Pharaoh, will believe I, Yahweh, sent you. Oh, that's way better than me just talking. Again, so verse 6, but kind of the next piece. Again, the Lord said to him, put your hand inside your cloak. Moses put his hand in his cloak, and we took it out. His hand was leprous, as white as snow. Far less cool than the first one, I would suggest to you. What is this Hansen's disease, what we call leprosy particularly when people talk about leprosy in the New Testament? It's some kind of skin disease. And it was meant to communicate you are untouchable, you are ritually unclean, you are separated from society, and you clearly do not have God's favor. It has all those connotations to it. So suddenly, a crocodile from your stick is very cool, but to make you untouchable is a whole nother thing. Ritually impure, as well as obviously physically sick. When he took it out, so he put his hand back in the cloak, dirty, clean. Did I tell you one of my best friends who's a priest, we were at a retreat and in the kitchen, and to me it was just the funniest thing. We practiced this, and on the dishwasher, it had a little sign that said clean on one side and unclean, so he held the sign up that said unclean, and then we put our hand on him, and then it said clean, back and forth. It was Andrew Grasso for those watching. But so that it has this second effect. If they do not believe or heed your first sign, they may believe the second sign. If they will not believe even these two signs or heed you, you shall, so this is the third, you shall take some water from the Nile. Why Nile? Sacred to Egypt, life-giving water for drinking, for crops, for animals, their transportation hub. The Nile symbolized the heart of all of Egypt. And as I said before, to this day, 95% of all Egyptians live within 5 miles of the Nile River. It's everything to them. So take some water from their main source, pour it on dry ground, and the water you shall take from the Nile will become blood. That's the first. So what becomes life becomes death. And that will become the first of the plagues. But, every time you hear a word but, Moses said to the Lord, yeah, okay, those are pretty cool things, but I don't still want to do it. This is the rebuttal argument, please, Lord, I don't want to. But Moses said to the Lord, oh, my Lord. Now he pulls out the oh, my Lord. Oh, have you lost weight? You're so smart and handsome, Lord. That's what he's basically doing. Oh, my Lord, I've never been eloquent, neither in the past nor even now that you have spoken to your servant, but I am slow of speech and slow of tongue. Oh, so hard to be me. Then the Lord said to him, who gives speech to mortals? What makes them mute? Who makes them mute or deaf, seeing or blind? Is it not I, the Lord? Now go, and I will be your mouth and teach you what you are to speak. But he said, okay, but still, please send someone else. So we could say this is an excuse that the prosecution would get that out of here. Is that fair? Fair. No, we don't accept your argument. Please send someone else. I want to get out of this. Then the anger of the Lord was kindled against Moses, and he said, I'm done arguing. This is what's going to happen. One of your brother Aaron, the Levite, from the tribe of Levi, who were the priest within the organization, one of your brother Aaron, I know that he can speak fluently. Even now he's coming out to meet you, and when he sees you, his heart will be glad. You shall speak to him and put the words in his mouth, and I will be your mouth, and with his mouth he will teach you what you shall do. He indeed shall speak for you to the people and shall serve as your mouthpiece. Basically, that becomes his spokesman. It's kind of a weird setup. Moses tells Aaron what to say, and then Aaron tells them, and it's not clear, does Moses act it out or stay in the background? Or like, no, tell them this, now say that. It's not clear how it works. But it's another way, I think, of showing who's really acting to free Hebrews, the people of Israel, and against Egypt. Is it Moses? That guy's pretty lame. He runs away. He says no. He tries to get out of it. I'm not a good talker. Have my brother help. He can't be that awesome. This is a larger issue. Natalie, my wife and I were talking about this over the weekend. All throughout the Old Testament, the characters are incredibly human and flawed. I would suggest even more flawed than gifted. Like it's not Oh, I know you got some rough edges, but look at all your gifts. No, they're really pretty awful, mostly. In the New Testament, the people are still flawed, but there is this full Greek influence where people just feel different, the characters in the New Testament to me, than in the Old. I identify better with the Old Testament than the New because the people are so broken with motives that are really horrible oftentimes, jealousy, envy, whatever it may be, greed, and you just see that poured out. Moses is the most human person possible. Take in your hand the staff, which you shall perform these signs. And so we get, that's chapter 4, verse 17. And then continues. Moses, I'm reading, so what we have today. Moses went back to his father-in-law, so I had the whole argument with God. Well, I guess Yahweh won the argument.
Moses never said yes.
That's a good point. Moses never said yes.
Yes, I'll know.
But it's kind of like your kids arguing with the parent. I don't want to. You got 50,000 excuses. Put on your shoes and put your shirt on the right way. And eventually the parent wins. And it's not pleasant, and everybody's tired, and it's annoying. And that's where we are. Moses went back to his father-in-law Jethro and said to him, "Please let me go back to my kindred in Egypt and see whether they are still living." And Jethro said to Moses, "Go in peace." We have no idea. Did Moses tell Jethro, his father-in-law, about the conversation with God? It doesn't say, but it would seem surprising not to. Look what I can do with my staff. Check out my hand. I'm now supposed to be the spokesperson of all the Hebrews. I mean, you'd want to tell somebody, wouldn't you? I think so. If you got a new big promotion or a big raise or you won $10,000 in the lottery, you'd want to tell somebody, I'm the deliverer of the Hebrew people, or I'm about to be. And I'm going to take on Pharaoh. So go back to Egypt. The Lord said to Moses and Midian, go back to Egypt, for all those who are seeking your life are dead. So all those guys are dead. So Moses took his wife and his sons, so he has multiple now, put them on a donkey and went back to the land of Egypt. And Moses carried the staff of God in his hand. It doesn't say, but it appears that the wife and the sons only went with him part of the way, so it's kind of see him off, and that they go back to Jethro and Midian, or I should say stay in Midian. It appears Moses goes off with Aaron, just the two of them. I wouldn't want to take children and a spouse into this where I'm probably going to be killed if you do the odds. So they don't go. And Lord said to Moses, when you go back to Egypt, see that you perform before Pharaoh all the wonders that I put in your power, but I will harden his heart so that he may not let the people go. What in the world does that mean? So, I didn't hear you. The best is yet to come. So my heart can be hardened. And how it's this. If this is just absolutely true if you're ever dealing with me. If you are nice and fair, even if you're not too nice, if you're fair and you try to be reasonable, I will go out of my way to help you. The moment you turn mean or try to have guile, I will never give in no matter what. I just won't. My heart is hardened. That means digging in your heels, you will not be convinced no matter the evidence in Pharaoh's case. I'm not going to let these Hebrew foreigners who are in my territory, my workforce, tell me what to do. I'm the Pharaoh. I'm the dad, darn it. That's how it's going to be. None of you have ever said that as a parent because I'm the mom or I'm the dad or I'm the rector. No, I'm the boss. That's how they say it. So, and the Lord said to Moses, when you go back to Egypt, perform all these wonders. Then you shall say to Pharaoh, thus says the Lord, Israel is my firstborn son. I said to you, let my son go that he may worship me, but you refuse to let him go. Now I will kill your firstborn son. Pharaoh's probably thinking, did you just threaten me? Slaves? Did you threaten me and my stuff and my empire? I don't think so. That's not happening. And on the way, at a place where they spent the night, the Lord met him and tried to kill him. Are you reading with me? But Zipporah took a flint and cut off her son's foreskin and touched Moses' feet with it and said, truly you are a bridegroom of blood to me, so let him alone. It was then she said, a bridegroom of blood by circumcision. I read various commentaries and like, what in the world just happened to this story? Most likely, somebody as an editor, second editor in the movie, inserted this other piece about circumcision to show why it's important, and we really don't know why that's in there. It doesn't make sense at all in the flow of the story, and there are a few instances that, remember, this is not one person writing the movie or the book, and here I've edited it with words so it's all correct grammatically and spelling. There's no, like even my grammar and layout is good. This is an oral tradition that's passed down with various versions, and this in Exodus has these different sources coming together, and so when it is finally written down, other people might add to it. Like a monk copying a medieval manuscript would draw stuff on the side. This is a really cool point. It's called illuminated manuscripts. They would draw and make it beautiful or attention to something. And so this is probably one of those. The Lord said to Aaron, go into the wilderness to meet Moses. So he went and he met him at the mountain of God and kissed him. Moses told Aaron all the words of the Lord with which he sent him. So recounted the whole argument and stuff, and all the signs with which he had charged him. Could you imagine telling your brother or sister, this is what God told me? I mean, would your brother or sister believe you? Check this out. And then you do the staff thing and the hand thing. Can I do that too? No. I'm the only one who can do the hand thing. You're just supposed to be the talker. And so the people believed. Aaron spoke all the words the Lord had spoken to Moses and performed the signs in the sight of the people. The people, Hebrew people, believed, and when they heard that the Lord had given heed to the Israelites and that he had seen their misery, they bowed down and worshiped. So wait, they walked all the way back to Egypt? Yes. So somehow in that paragraph, they're in Midian and now they're in Egypt so it's a long talk Moses and Aaron had, 700 miles of walking. Now they're suddenly there, and they tell all the Israelites, and that it's usually Hebrews before this, tell all the Israelites, here's what's happening, here's what God's going to do. And to me, shockingly, yeah, okay, that's good. It's exactly what Yahweh meant. Who the heck is Yahweh to these people, by the way? Think about that. If you've been slaves for all your existence, basically, that you know, what good has God ever done you? And now God's going to come in and make things better? That's kind of where they are. But they believed. Afterwards, Moses and Aaron, so they're talking about, can you believe that they believed us? Oh my gosh, how did we pull that off? So then they go to Pharaoh and said, thus says the Lord. That has to be Aaron talking, because if Moses is a bad tongue, thus says the Lord, the God of Israel, let my people go. So he's the God. What does Israel refer to, a place or a people there? The God of Israel. People. It's very much a people, because part of the point that is easily missed, Yahweh God is not a God of a spring or a mountain, God of a people. So wherever the people go, God goes. Thus says the Lord, the God of Israel, the people, let my people go, the Israelites, the Jews, so that they may celebrate a festival to me in the wilderness. But Pharaoh said, Who is the Lord, Yahweh, that I should heed him and let Israel go? I never heard of this God. Totally unimpressive to me. We got better gods in Egypt. They got better gods in Babylon, for that goodness sake. Who is that one? What's he ever done? Who is the Lord that I should heed him and let Israel go? I do not know the Lord, and I will not let Israel go. Then they said, the God of the Hebrews has revealed himself to us. Let us go a 3 days' journey into the wilderness to sacrifice to the Lord our God, or he will fall upon us with pestilence and sword. So again, a threat. But apparently, God will be mad at the Hebrews if you don't let us go to worship. Pharaoh's... Or an excuse.
You're going to lose your workforce.
You're going to lose your workforce if you don't, help us out here. But the king of Egypt said to them, Moses and Aaron, why are you taking the people away from their work? Get to your labors. He doesn't care about Moses. Moses and Aaron are just gnats, and the people are just workers. I want the production to continue. No shifts may be taken off. We need the bricks or whatever they're making. Get to your labors, Pharaoh continued. This is the point earlier on that Pharaoh said why they wanted to kill all the Hebrew babies. Remember that expression? The land was teeming with Hebrews. There was an explosion of locusts or frogs or whatever it might, teeming with them. Oh my gosh, they're everywhere. Now they are more numerous than the people of the land. Same phrase. They are teeming. And you want them to stop working? Do you want all these people to go into unrest? No way. Stay at your job. The same day, Pharaoh commanded the taskmasters of the people, foremen is how it's sometimes translated, as well as their supervisors, you shall no longer give the people straw to make bricks as before. Let them go and gather the straw themselves. If they have time to go to church, they have time. I am done helping them. They've had it too easy. They can go gather their own straw to make their own darn bricks, and you'll be happy that that's all I did. But you shall require of them the same quantity of bricks as they have previously made. Do not diminish it, for they are lazy. Lazy if you want to go to church. That is why they cry, let us go and offer sacrifice to our God. Let heavier work be laid on them, then they will labor at it and pay no attention to these deceptive words. These rabble-rousing Che Guevara types of Moses and Aaron are trying to get the people to stop working. Oh no, they have it too easy, so beatings will continue until morale improves. That's the story. That's how Pharaoh plays it. What do you think? To me, this is a great movie, just whole thing, experiencing it.
I've seen that.
Yes. So the taskmasters and supervisors of the people, now their job, imagine in that moment if you're an Egyptian mid-level management. It feels strikingly contemporary. Just say you're, pick a company, Google or the Episcopal Church. I know we got some concerns and you're going to have fewer resources, but management made this decision, and now all of you will have to start doing it. And you're going to like it. And I know it's harder. You're going to have to do more with less, and we still need you to produce all the same stuff you did before, but now we want you to do this other thing on top of that. And that's what they're trying to convince everybody. Hey, this is a team win, This is good for everybody. And everybody knows it's not true, but you got to try your best for that. So they continue on. Where did I go? Here. You shall no longer give the people straw to make bricks as before. Let them go gather straw themselves. So the people scattered throughout the land of Egypt to gather stubble for straw. The taskmasters were urgent, saying, complete your work, the same daily assignment as when you were given straw. Same bottom line needed, but sorry. And the supervisors of the Israelites, so these are Hebrew Jewish people that were reporting to the Egyptian workers. So that's where you have the rub. So you got the Egyptian guys saying, come on, Hebrew guys, get your people to work harder. They can't work any harder. Where is there straw in the desert, by the way? I mean, yes, there would be grain right along the river, but it's hot, and you've got to then go gather all this other stuff. And I don't know this, but I'm betting that slaves in Egypt didn't have a lot of free time, family me time, or comp time. That's just, you go gather straw while we make food, and you just made life harder for everybody. The Egyptians said to the Hebrews, complete your work, same daily assignment as when you were given straw. And the supervisors of the Israelites, whom Pharaoh's taskmasters had set over them, were beaten. Just good measure, were beaten, and were asked, why did you not finish the required quantity of bricks yesterday and today as you did before? So you got a letter in your folder, your HR folder, that you weren't good enough or beaten. That was, it's time when that happens. So what would happen in this contemporary scenario? So the Israelite supervisors bypass the Egyptian supervisors. We're not going to the mid-level manager or even the vice president. Let's just go directly to the top and complain to them about our plight. Now, was that ever a good move? Maybe, but there are consequences. Then the Israelite supervisors came to Pharaoh and cried, why do you treat your servants like this? No straw is given to your servants. So they're appropriately deferential. Yet you say to us, make bricks. Look how your servants are beaten. You are unjust to your own people. And Pharaoh was very full of compassion, and his heart was warmed and softened. Oh my God, you're right. I've been mistreating you all these years. How about some extra straw for your beds and extra food? No, what did he say? Lazy. That is why you say, let us go sacrifice to the Lord. So his response is the most dismissive thing possible. Have you ever been in that meeting with the boss? Very unpleasant. Wait, I thought you would be on our side. No, you're lazy. You have a job to do. Now get out and go do it. Go now and work, for no straw shall be given you, but you shall deliver the same number of bricks. The Israelite supervisors saw that they were in trouble when they were told, you shall not lessen your daily number of bricks. It's like, let's get out of here at the meeting right now while we lost and okay, let's go. Bad plan. As they left Pharaoh, now it is a human condition when something bad happens to you, you need to blame somebody else, because it couldn't possibly be that these Hebrew supervisors said, we're going to go take care of this. Come on, y'all. We're with the union. We're going to fix it. We're going to go to the top, and we're going to get better wages and less pay. Blah, and then they get completely shut down. So now whose fault is it? It can't be their fault. It can't be the other people's fault. As they left Pharaoh, the Hebrew supervisors came upon Moses and Aaron, who were waiting to meet them. They said to him, the Lord look upon you and judge. You jerk, it's your fault. That's what they're saying. You have brought us into bad odor with Pharaoh and his officials, and have put a sword in their hand to kill us. This is all your fault. We have to work harder with the same amount of, there's no income, harder job with fewer resources. You're to blame. So now you have this dynamic, but hey, remember the stick thing, and God's going to free you from all this. Like, I don't see any freeing going on. I just see us having to work harder. Thank you, Moses and Aaron. So how likely are they, the people, to listen to Moses and Aaron next time? Not very likely. I mean, it's a bad track record. They initially believed, and now it's like, you guys made life much harder. Leave, go away. We don't want your consultant ideas. Get out of here. Thank you for sharing. Because that's basically how they function in this dynamic. Their outside consultants have come in to fix it, and now they try to go internally, and everything's a disaster, and they can blame them. Then Moses turned again to the Lord and said, "O Lord," so does Moses saying, you know what, I should take accountability for my actions? I did go and ask them to do this and convince them. But Moses does what you would expect. Lord, why have you mistreated this people? Why did you ever send me? Why me, God? I mean, poor me. Since I first came to Pharaoh to speak in your name, since the beginning, I've been getting in trouble. He has mistreated this people, and you have done nothing. Think of this last line. You've done nothing at all to deliver your people. God, you're a mean daddy or mommy. That's how it sounds to me. Poor me, you said you'd do this and you haven't done anything, and I'm mad. I'm going to go sulk in my room. Chapter 5, by the way, is, we skip a few because it's either genealogies or it's a kind of different part of the story, but sticking with the story. Then the Lord said to Moses, to follow up his question, now you shall see what I will do to Pharaoh. Indeed, by a mighty hand, Pharaoh will let the people go. By a mighty hand, he will drive them out of his land. So the promise is repeated to Moses complaining, oh, poor me, poor Israel, you're not a very good God at all like we thought. Has that ever happened to you, the God part? Got to blame somebody. Nobody wants to take responsibility at all. This is another, and why is that? Maybe because that's how people are, and maybe because it shows God is God, and that's who's really doing the delivering, not Moses, who is the... Would you ever call Moses as rector of Calvary Church? I would say, heck no. Oh my God, that's a load of problems there. Complaining, blaming everybody else constantly. Aaron, no. He starts pagan worship while Moses is gone later. You go down the list, like they're all pretty rotten people. So God is God, the one who's going to deliver the people. Any last thoughts before we go?
It's kind of a repeat of Abraham.
It's kind of a repeat of Abraham.
The promises just keep being made. And
To say that again?
the promises.
The promises keep being made.
God's response to the complaint is to repeat the promise.
God's response to the complaint is to repeat the promise. Yes. Something very important to catch, that Cameron indirectly talks about this in her sermon today. And think of when we say the creed, we believe in one God, the Father Almighty. Very much the word for believe, credo, is in Hebrew and in Greek, it's a better translation to say we trust. So it's not an intellectual assertion only. I trust my mom or my dad loves me. No matter what I do, even if I'm an idiot or even if I'm really good, no matter what, they still love me. And this idea of believe or trust, that's how it's shaping the story. I know things look bad now, Moses, and you have having trouble, but still trust. Things don't look like it, but trust that God still loves you and God keeps the promises. Uh-huh. The theatricality in the text, which I've been trying to bring out so it becomes more obvious.
The extent to which there's like a narrator who has very limited stuff. He's just giving a little bit of interstitial stuff. And then there are the characters. There's Yahweh and the 5 or 6 characters. And so it almost stages itself. Like we could make a little play here and do this scene because it's all cast. I mean, I don't know that there's any performance tradition of this text. It feels like there ought to be.
A great question. There is a performative narrative, there is a vibrancy to this story in Exodus that I don't find other places quite so much. It's so alive and engaging and feels completely contemporary to me. Michael?
Yeah, if one wanted an illustration of the theatricality of the text, for next time one could listen to Handel's oratorio Israel in Egypt, which renders that more
Yep.
powerfully than anything I've ever really seen.
Handel's oratorio on that. All right, thank you all very much. See you next week.